It says we're live. Yay. Hello, my good friend,
Hey.
the Nicole Rhone. Welcome to the Common Thread to Success series. I am so happy to have you join us because, for one, I know people hear me talk about the common thread all the time, and they're like, what is this lady talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But for two, I really want them to see the other side of the common thread. And then three, actually know the people so the people can help the people. You know what I'm saying? Because we all do
Help
different
me help you
things
help us. Ain't that what
and
you say?
help me help you help us. Oh, and by the way, I tagged it on my LinkedIn, but I don't think I've done a post because I was delirious last night sharing things. But I literally just contributed to a panel article discussion with Forbes, and it
Mm-hmm.
came out yesterday. And that was my quote for leaders to use was help me help you help us. And I break it down a little bit as to what that really means and how it really empowers your staff and you to be able to collectively get the job done. So everybody look out for that. That'll be posted soon. But I can talk about you all day, every day, which I will do a little bit later. But tell the people who you are and what you do.
Yes, ma'am. Let me just say thank you again for having me. I'm so excited to talk about how much you've helped me on my journey, as I evolved from working full time to being a full time entrepreneur. For those of you who do not know me, I am Nicole Rhone, everybody's favorite capacity coach, and I help everyone to really create healthy habits, which lead to healthy people and then lead to healthy businesses. And so I am all about making sure that we're using our time, energy, and resources, aka capacity, effectively and efficiently so that we can show up in the spaces and places that we're called to and be able to do that in excellence.
So, I know we previously spoke about like what we gonna talk about, but I didn't throw this one out here, so I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. But I think it's important for people to know. Um, so when I met Nicole and I heard her story, I was like, girl, well, let me rewind even more. Nicole also did a workshop for me, I guess 3 years ago now. And in the
Yeah.
workshop, she's asking questions in regards to like how much capacity do you have? And I'm sitting there like, oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm good. Yep, yep. And then all of a sudden my answers became no, no, and no some more. And I realized I had normalized functioning at over capacity, not even max capacity, but over capacity. And that was my normal and that was my comfortable space. And that's where I thought I thrived, right? Not realizing that burnout was not a good thing. And so then I heard your story about literally being sat down from people from the South. You guys know what that means. It means you did not voluntarily sit down, you were sat down
Set up.
by a person, place, or thing. Okay. Um, and that was your wake up call to start to reevaluate life and where you are and what that looks like. Because those of us who have a servant's heart and a giving spirit, it's like, yes, the answer is always yes. And we put ourselves at the end, if not lower than that, to take care of ourselves. And we're the one that everyone comes to for something. And so I always, I token her the one coach. Not many knew what I was talking about, but she's the one that helps the one that everybody depends on, the one that says, I got it, the one that will do it before it's asked about, the one to make sure that things don't fall apart and crumble to the end. And so tell them your the one story and what got you to this point.
Yeah, thank you for saying all of that. You always put everything so eloquently. My the one story really is, me being the end all be all at home and at work, right? Working full time, being the one literally that looks like me in the corporate setting, being the one in the family, the first one to graduate, the first one, to get married, all of those different things. And because of that, really overextending myself and showing up. And even though things, were falling apart, personally, showing up professionally as if everything is okay. And eventually that took a huge toll on me, right? As you mentioned, really me honestly fighting for my life. And so when I had to sit down, I had to really, really, really reevaluate what was important. I had to evaluate, how am I spending my time? Who am I spending it with? What is stressing me out, right? Like I had to do some work and be real honest about what was working, what was not working. And I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit, but part of that was really wanting to set boundaries and being able to communicate those boundaries, me giving myself permission to say, you know what, just because I can doesn't mean that I should, right? And unlearning unhealthy patterns of behavior and really just working through all of that so that I no longer had to be the one. It was a choice. It was a choice for me to say, you know what? I don't have to be the end all be all for everyone. You teach people how to treat you. And when you get to a point, I hope nobody ever has to be, sitting in ICU and fighting for their lives because they are the one and overextending themselves beyond their capacity. But if you've ever experienced that, it's like, wait a minute, time out, pause. What really is essential versus important? And so, that's the very fast version of the one story. Additionally, being the oldest, second oldest sibling of 10, everybody calls on you. And when you are good at what you do, right? When you're good at work and you are solution focused and, you're able to just deliver boom, boom, boom. Like you said, people know that you're going to do it without even being asked. You're volunteering. That becomes part of your identity too. So I had to unlearn some of that too.
Mm-hmm. Where shall I start? Look, I'm like, that's a whole nother conversation for
I
another
know.
day. Let me stay
Reel it
focused,
in, reel it
right?
in.
Because it's very real. Um, and many of us truly pride ourselves on that because we're conditioned from so young to pride ourselves on being the one and being there for everybody else and putting ourselves last. And so a lot of my clients, when we go through the phase of unlearning to relearn, you feel like you're wrong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't me. Like, I'm a nice person. I talked on the podcast this season about me shifting from being nice to kind.
Mm,
And I'm not always nice because nice me would be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna say yes because, and oh, but, and it prevented me from reaching levels that I know I should be at. And it also prevented me from having the best health and being the best that I could be so I could show up for the people how I wanted to show up for them when it
mm,
was time to show up for them. And so that I really wanted you to share because there's so many of us that feel this way, but think it's wrong to make that shift. And then the other thing that came to mind while you were talking is that majority of my clients, you're your first client. I'm my first client because we're on this um, purpose driven mission to help people either through what we've been through, prevent them from going through what we've been through. And you had to be forced to sit down, to be forced to evaluate and evolve to be the best at being at capacity so
mm,
that you can help others do that. And you really weren't one of the ones that fought your common thread. Many people fight it. It's like once they hear what their common thread is, they be like, girl, that is not it. So, like, that's too easy. That's too simple.
mm,
You embraced it and hit the ground running and realized that efficiency, because everybody kept trying to put you into um, time management,
mm,
and it's more than a schedule,
mm,
right? And so
mm,
you kept saying no. There's four flows to this because
mm,
you're all about her podcast, guys. Is the Flow and Flourish podcast? Go check it out. Um, But there's four main areas that you have to be cognitive in order to reach capacity and to be able to have, as you say, that work life harmony,
Hmm.
because it may not always be balanced, but it'll work.
Hmm.
And so if you'll tell them more about the flows.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. So there's actually five of them. I know we talk about them all the time. It's okay. It's okay. And so all five of them really work together. And it's my belief that they make up your capacity, right? So we have your heart flow, which is really all about your values, your needs, your relationships, and how that impacts your ability to show up in the different places and spaces. We have your workflow, right, which is about your balance or harmony, your fulfillment, and your growth. Whether you are a full-time employee, a full-time entrepreneur, got a side hustle, some sort of a combination, really being able to be efficient in those areas is going to be important. We also have your health flow, and this is near and dear to me because it's about how your mental, physical, and emotional health are all really intertwined, and they too impact your capacity. We also have your faith flow, and your faith flow is really about your foundation and your functioning. How are you handling things when sugar honey iced tea hits the fan, right? What are you rooted in, and how are you using your faith to really get through those things? And it doesn't matter who or what you believe in. It's about knowing that there's a source bigger than you. And then last but not least, we have our cash flow, and that really is about your money, right? Your money mindset, your money habits, and really creating wealth and a legacy. And so for me, all of those really working together. Although I didn't fight my common thread, like you said, I knew that it wasn't just time management, because we all have time management apps. We all have planners, which Jateya, by the way, has the most amazing planner I have ever witnessed on the planet. So if you do not have it, go get it. It's really about being efficient in all of these areas. And so I would love to talk a little bit more about that. I know you've got some questions for me.
Good. Goodness. So, because I'm glad you, one, corrected me, but two, the cash flow. Like many people that come, it's to me, they always want to know about, well, how do I? Because I want to get the fastest way to the cash.
Hmm.
And many people come to me because they've already taken the fastest way to the cash and now they're stuck, right? And we have to go back and rebuild that foundation. And so a lot of times people are like, I don't need the common thread. I can skip that part. And I'm like, no, because for a couple of reasons. One, that helps you identify where you work best in your business. Because I'm not here to help you be a solopreneur for the rest of your life. I'm helping you become the CEO that that you desire to be, so you can live the life that you are destined to live, right? And to do that, that means you need to function in your zone of genius, and then we need to build a plan backwards to fill the gaps with people that'll help support you do that, right? And so, hence the planner, and hence the common thread, and me getting to that part. And so, with the cash flow, give me an example of like how that shows up in their life that they need to, let me rewind, take your capacity calculator. One, so they know what areas they're deficient in, right? But like, what? How does it show up in their lives with the cash flow? And what does it look like after they've worked with you in that area?
Absolutely. I love this one. The way that it shows up most often, I'll share a quick example. So before I was sat down, I was making more money than I've ever made, had the corner office, the title, the parking spot with the name on it, all of that stuff. But because I was unfulfilled in, personal things that were going on within my marriage, I was, disconnected from really the work that I was doing. All that six-figure money that I was getting, I was spending it as fast as I could. And so most people don't really connect the dots and understand that the common thread to you managing your money has a lot to do with, how you feel on the inside. I know that that sounds frou-frou, but emotional spending is real. How many people are like, you know what, little retail therapy, will solve everything. But then that trickles over into, how you feel about yourself. Because if you're spending more than you have coming in, then you're frustrated and you're stressed, and then that's going to impact not just your mental capacity, but your physical capacity, because that stress leads to sickness. Like, it's all related. And so in working with me, and even in taking the capacity calculator, it helps you to identify which of these different areas am I struggling in the most. Am I having issues with not being aligned with what I value in this season of my life? I'm a segue real quick, because most of us, right? You mentioned how we are groomed, and these are learned behaviors that we are people pleasing and doing all of these things, but when you take a second and you pause and you think about, what do I value in this season? Not 5 years ago, not 3 years ago. In this season, I value my time. I value my energy. I value my peace of mind. In certain seasons, I valued the grind, right? It was climbing the corporate ladder, getting the promotion, doing all of those things. And even after getting married and becoming a mom, like, stuff changed. So you have to identify what you value in this season. And so I'll circle back. The capacity calculator allows you to really take an open and honest look at what you value in this season, how you're spending your time, who you're spending it with, what you're giving your energy to, and identify how much capacity you have and what areas of the flows that you probably should be working on if you want to increase your capacity and stop operating beyond it.
And I'm glad that one of the first words that you threw out there was fulfillment, because many people, especially high achieving women, right? Fulfillment is not our focus, it's achievement. It's like you said, it's like climbing the corporate ladder and doing all of the things that everybody else tells us is success, whether we're miserable or not. Because most of us grew up with parents that said work is a necessity. It's not a pleasure, right? You don't get to do the work that you love. You're doing the work because you have to. And we have to shift that in order to make it so that you do the work that you love and you love the work that you do. So not only are you achieving, but you're fulfilled. And when you're fulfilled, you achieve. I was about to say sooner, quicker, faster, because that's what my nephew says. But
So much
you
more,
achieve
right?
things uh, uh, with ease and in excellence, because you're happy, you're loving what you do, and you want to do more of it. And I tell people all the time, like, my first real job, I was like, first of all, I had an amazing, amazing supervisor. But because I loved what I was doing and I was in an environment that valued me, or I felt valued, I felt seen, I felt understood, I was fulfilled, and I would go above and beyond. Oh, you need me to work? Like, oh, no problem. Because I enjoy being there, right? And so I really want people to switch that focus from just achievement to fulfillment. And that'll make it a whole lot easier once you identify right now your deficits in your flow areas, how to connect and find the synergies between your passions, your purpose, and your profession, your common thread, so that you're doing what you love and you love what you do. And if you're happy here, 9 times out of time, 10, you're happy here. And that is one of the things that we need to shift in how we see things in business culture, because they see people as widgets mostly. And we don't want to prioritize profit over people, even though profit is important. But when we prioritize people, they prioritize profit. And therefore, things become more harmonious, hence work life harmony. And so, this is also another reason why I wanted to have you on, because if people identify their common thread and they identify their deficit in their capacity and they align all of the above, life like does a whole entire 360. I don't even want to say 360. It was 360 plus 180 because you're gonna get dizzy because
Mhm.
it happens so fast and the acceleration is there, but life is improved and you find that joy and peace and fulfillment in life and in business, not just one or the other, which is
Yep.
the important part about identifying your common thread and capacity.
Yeah, you said so much. So much was flowing through my head as you talked about that because number one, I love that you work with your clients to choose people over profits, right? Because the HR leader in me, I love the fact that there are so many organizations that really do value their people, right? And so they are putting programs and policies and things in place to do that. On the other hand, there are a lot of organizations that don't. And when you've worked for both, that impacts your fulfillment, right? It impacts your capacity. And sometimes it makes you sit down and think about your common
Come
thread,
on.
right? Like, why am I here? What am I doing? And
Hmm.
so I'm grateful to be able to be here to kind of talk through that because I see it also as really identifying what you value, right? Because
Hmm.
there's this chart that I have, and I'm going to actually show it in my workshop in a couple of weeks around you know, how closely your values and fulfillment are really linked to your productivity, right? And so being able to tap into what that common thread is almost identical to being able to identify what you value. Because if you, like you said, are doing all this work and going above and beyond because it doesn't feel like work and you feel fulfilled, 9 times out of 10, it's because it's something that you have a lot of high value in. And so if you flip that and really think about it from a business perspective, as an organization or even as an individual working in an organization, when you take the time to really make sure that you're spending your time, your energy, your resources, and maximizing, all of those things to achieve more, you're going to be more fulfilled. You're going to be able to, show up and show out without the burnout, without the frustration, without the resentment of, oh, I gotta come in here a whole nother day. I don't wanna, I can't, I ain't, I won't. So yeah, you said a lot, but those are the couple things that came up to me.
No, first of all, I love this is our normal for anybody that's new to Nicole and I because she's been on the podcast a few times. We've done lives a few times, but it's an easy tag team between the two of us because you literally just talked about value, and I wasn't even going to talk about that today because so thank you for bringing that up because the thing is that most people don't value their common thread. It literally is your superhero power, and you don't value it because it comes so easy. And lately, I've been telling people that we get gifts all the time, and they were free. But sometimes we get really good gifts. We still didn't pay for them, but they were very expensive. And this is one of those things is that our common thread, your superhero power, it is a gift that is given to you. And yes, it comes easy. And many of us have been taught that you have to work hard for anything that's worth having and all of those cliches. And I really want you to understand that you're running away from the thing that comes easiest to you because you don't value it. And I've heard so many people say, nobody's going to pay me for that. I'm like, yeah, they paid a man for a pet rock that had like eyes drawn on it. He made $1 million for the pet rock. Okay. They will pay you for the thing that's easy because your simple is someone else's significant. It takes them significant time, significant energy just to do the thing that is easy for you. And so identifying that common thread forces you to shift your perspective in your values because I could hear people already saying as they're watching this, oh, I already know what I value. I value family. I value this. I value that. And you're overlooking the things that are so valuable because they're so easy or they're not the traditional thing that society has told you you should value. They've pushed you in a way to undermine those things or to segregate them between work and life, your personal and professional. When they are tied together, you reach fulfillment. and you enjoy the things that you do and you do the things that you love and get paid to do it. So thank you for bringing up value, because that's the main reason why most people are upset with me when I tell them, this is your common thread. And they're like, no, I've been doing that all my life. And da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, but that's it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to use up all your time, because I can talk to you forever and a day. Um, but any last comments or thoughts, or just words that you would give the people regarding the common thread, and then tell the good people, how to find you, and then we can talk about the things that we're collaborating on this year too.
Yes, absolutely. First, I want to say how impactful working with you has been, because identifying my common thread, although I did not force it, or go against it, it was life changing for me. Because when I realized that, yes, it's bigger than time management. Yes, it's bigger than work life balance, efficiency. I help people use their time, energy, and resources efficiently, personally and professionally. It changed the game for me, right? I've been able to secure additional individual clients. I have been able to work with organizations and come in and do workshops, because before I kept saying, let me help you just get work-life balance. No, 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 no. It's the efficiency, it's the result. And so I'm just grateful that you are able to use your gifts to help us really show up and have a greater impact, to make more income, and to not just put profits above people. So thank you for what you do. Additionally, yes, I can be found out here in these internet streets on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, at Nicole Rhone. And then if you're okay, I'd love to leave the viewers an opportunity to really go and take the capacity calculator, because it is free for everybody to go on
Yes,
in
please.
and utilize. And so I've dropped that in the chat. Um, and really just to make sure that, as you are working through your common thread, your capacity is linked to that too, right? And so once you know what that common thread is, you can effectively and efficiently use your capacity to show up in the world and in these places and spaces that you've been called to with these gifts. So that's what I have.
Well, I also wanna what's the word, y'all? Like, egg you, not egg you, but boost you up, hype you up, hype. That's the word I'm looking for. I wanna hype you up more, because, so many of you guys are very humble. And I want y'all to toot toot, like toot toot your own horn. Recently, you worked with an international, globally renowned, very much so well known organization that we will not name, but you were hired by this global, international, very infamous organization. Man, this is a big thing, and I don't want us to gloss over that. You are a big deal. I just want to say that. And so, like, one of the things is that, I've talked to so many people, and we had Crystal on, Crystal last
Mhm.
month.
Love her.
And I was like, her biggest thing was, she was like, I took the common thread and in 2 weeks I quit my job. And I was like, that's not what I said to do. But then she was like, but I got all of these 5 and 6 figure contracts. And I was like, well, then say less. And so, um, I just want to let you know that I am very proud of you. I'm always here to support, which, if you guys don't know, if you're part of my world in any way, shape, form, or fashion, I was formerly known as a natural networker. I naturally just love to connect people. That's how my brain works. So, with that being said, Nicole will be joining me as a speaker at a conference at Rutgers University this coming May. I'm so excited about that.
Me
And
too.
then on top of that, I cannot wait to join you at your conference in Chicago in August.
Yes.
And so before you go, please tell the people about the conference, because if you are the one in your world, in your circle, in your family you have to be there because you will get one community of people who get it, right? Because everybody doesn't get it. They might understand, but they don't get it.
That's the difference.
And you'll get the things that you need to really be able to have capacity and shift from surviving to truly thriving. So let the good people know about the conference.
Yes, listen, the capacity conference is going to be held August 1st and 2nd in the Chicago area. And this really is, you guys, I have handpicked these women to come and pour into the one, right? For us to be in the room, it's not just us talking at you, it's us doing the work. We're going to get in the room and really get the tools, the strategies, and the resources to break up with burnout, to learn how to, practice self-care, set boundaries, guilt-free. It's going to be a dynamic 2-day conference, and tickets are going to be going on sale really, really soon. Jateya is one of those handpicked people who actually not only is going to be a presenter, but she is going to be hosted. And if you have been in her world, like she said, you know that she is dynamic. This is going to be a life-changing conference. And I'm just really excited to be able to help people more than anything do the preventative work to keep us from ending up in the hospital, to keep us from having our hair falling out, to keep us from, having that additional weight gain because we are stressed and eating and not dealing with the stuff that's below the surface. So this is the real deal work that's going to be taking place, in August. So I can't wait to see you there and to share more about when tickets go on sale.
I'm excited. What is the cliche that everybody says? Don't meet me there, beat me there. Because I will be there, and I'm super excited about it. So I will be reposting once things go live with the conference. So I'm excited because, like I said, she was there doing a conference for me, and I'm in the background, like, okay, yeah, I need some more of this. So please join us so you can get what you need because literally our heart's desires is for you to live your best life personally and professionally. But yeah, so thank you so much, Mama Sita. I so appreciate you. And I'm here to support you in any way that I possibly can.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's it, guys. Go follow Nicole. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And I will see you guys back here, same place, same time next month with another common thread to success.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks
Bye.
for having me, Jateya.